Hi, everybody. This is Cheryl Abram, and you are with Person Centered Cyber. Welcome, navigators. Y'all, I'm really um, excited about tonight's topic. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, okay, but I was not sure about how I would approach it, okay. And then I saw something, Kwame Brown was talking about something on his channel a couple of nights ago or last night, something like that, and which brought back to my remembrance. So I was like, you know what, it's time. It's time for me to go ahead and talk about this stuff. And I think that you all, because you're in IT and cyber and all that, I feel like you'll get it a lot more quickly because of the things that we deal with, and the things that we deal with every day regarding the digital world. I think you'll get it. I'm confident that you will. So, uh, all right. So I'm just going to jump right in. So the black and white world. Okay. Analog versus digital. Now, I've told you all about some courses that I was doing regarding ITF, the CompTIA ITF, for a nonprofit that I work for. Okay. Now, as part of that, now ITF, Information Technology Fundamentals. I think is what that stands for. That's for people who are just coming up into IT. There are things on there like what is a keyboard. Okay, so it's the most fundamental certification that CompTIA has. Okay, is the ITF Plus, right? Many people skip it because nowadays little children know a whole bunch about technology, okay? But in that course, because some people take it, some people take it, and there's a lot of good information in there, and I'm confident that individuals who skipped the ITF and just went on to Security Plus or CISA or OSCP or whatever they did, if they take ITF Plus, they will get a lot from that, even though it's super fundamental. All right. I really do feel like, you would get a lot, even if you don't get the cert, just look at the material. Okay. So in that, one thing that I put in there was a very as elementary as I could get it explanation about the difference between analog and digital, because we talk about it a lot, don't we? We really do. And as I've said on this channel before, there are a lot of things we talk about, a lot of words we say, and we don't know what the hell they mean. Okay, we just talking. We just talking. Okay, so I really went into detail with analog and digital. All right, and that's what the crux of all this is about. All right, analog versus digital. Now the whole world is analog. Okay, so this, right? The entire everything you taste, touch, smell, hear, all that, it's analog. All right. And what we're doing with computers, okay, and computing equipment is we're making the analog digital. All right. Ones and zeros. We're making it binary. The world is not binary. It's analog. Okay. Computers, digital stuff, that's binary, ones and zeros, on and off. Okay. Up and down, like, whatever, binary. Which is why I titled this the black and white world. The black and white world, that's not that's not the analog world. Okay. That's digital. That's on and off. That's binary. Okay. Do you understand that? Now, what I want to caution you, for those of you who are listening to this now and for the replay, I am going to attempt to be as clear as I can be. But what I'm going to tell you is the further along I get on this, and we're not going to be on here for long, okay? But the further I get, the less complex I'm going to get and the harder it's going to be to understand. Okay. Because let me tell you why. Because we are used to abstraction, right? We're not used to people talking or hearing things that are just plain, like that are literal, right? We're all about abstraction, all right? And you'll see what I mean as we go further along. So you saw in the thumbnail how I have there. I have CISA, CISSP, Kali Linux. You know, I have representations of that, and along with that, I have books like the New Jim Crow. I have what else do I have in there for a book? So you want to talk about race by Ijeoma Olowu. Okay, that's in there. Mixed in with the CompTIA and the CISSP and all that stuff. Okay. Because what I want you to see is that that stuff ain't going away. Right? Just because we're not talking about it, it's in the background and it's affecting every single thing we do, whether we acknowledge it or not. Now y'all know that. Okay. So what I did was I have like four or five slides here that I want to go through with you. Okay. But I want to start with, there's a professor at Princeton. Her name is Ruha Benjamin. She's a professor of African American Studies at Princeton. And I just discovered her doing the research for this stuff. Here she is. Okay, Ruha Benjamin. She has a talk called The New Jim Code. All right, now if you're familiar with the New Jim Crow, it's the same thing, but in the digital world. It's called the New Jim Code. Okay, go ahead and look it up. I'm not going to go into it here, but I did want you to see who she is. Okay, and then go ahead and find her talk on the New Jim Code. Right now, really simply, I just wrote down like a little bit of what that's about. She says the New Jim Code explores a range of discriminatory designs that encode inequity. Okay? She challenges us to question not only the technologies we are sold, but also the ones we manufacture ourselves. I haven't listened to the whole thing, but you're going to want to do that, okay? So go ahead and listen to what she's saying, all right? Because this is not the first time, and it won't be the last until we start to do something differently, okay? Until we decide that we want to evolve in a different way, all right? And stop waiting around for somebody to do it, okay? Now we're gonna get into all that, all right? Let me not get too feisty too soon, okay? So let me go ahead and go over here. All right, so I need to share my screen with you just so we can get right into the slides so we can talk about this. Okay. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, here we go. So some of these books I have read. They're in my Audible library. Kathy O'Neill had a very large impact on, I told you all a while ago about there's a documentary on Netflix called Coded Bias. And the lady who is responsible for that worked very closely with Kathy O'Neill on her documentary. And she's also on LinkedIn. So if you want to forget her name, no, I might have it in the slide here, but we'll see. All right, let me hold on one second. I'm trying to find the one. Here we go. Okay, this is a quote from one of them. Instead of offering a workaround for human biases, the tools we designed to help us predict the future may be dooming us to repeat the past by replicating and even amplifying societal inequalities that already exist. Now, this to me, I mean, this is really a no-brainer. Okay, like to tell you the truth, right? Because technology is coming from us, because we are actually the ones, we, by we I mean human beings, okay, are the ones creating programs and you know, and developing applications and all that. It's like having a child, you know, like part of you is in that child. I mean, you can't help it. That's just the way it is. It's the same thing with this. The exact same thing with this. And there are like a gazillion examples of that being the case. Okay. So this is, you know, amplifying societal inequalities that already exist is just a no-brainer. Okay. Weapons of Math Destruction. This is another book. Kathy O'Neill, in her book, says the mathematical models being used today are unregulated and uncontestable, even when they're wrong. Most troubling, they reinforce discrimination, propping up the lucky, punishing the downtrodden, and undermining our democracy in the process. This is from an article called Welcome to the Dark Side of Big Data. All right. And I'm almost certain that what you're hearing here is not the first time you've heard it. But what I'm also almost certain of is that we ignore it. We largely ignore it, or we feel like, okay, well, I work in a SOC, like what the hell can I do? You know, I'm not, you know, I'm not a developer, I'm not programming anything. I mean, what the hell, what am I supposed to do? Okay, just sit there and take it, I guess, right? Okay, let's see, let's keep going. Coded bias. So this is the picture you'll see when you go to Netflix, when you go to look at that. So the issue, or one of the primary issues that I see here, is confusing these two terms, growth and improvement. Okay, one is true and one is false. Okay, neither one of them is good or bad, but one is true and one is false. All right. One of them is a quest that will never end, ever. Okay, because we're trying to get to some place, you know, that we feel exists where we'll be the top of the whatever the hell, you know. So one of these is true and one of these is false. And we very largely, you know, go after the false one, you know, and that is contributing a lot to what these issues are. Okay, and we're going to talk about that more. Now, this movie Surrogates, I don't know if you've seen this with Bruce Willis. I was going to play a little bit, but y'all good. You probably saw it. It's very old, very old. But in Surrogates, it's almost like Professor Black Ops did a video, and somebody else today. What was his name? M3. What, I think it's M something. They talk about the metaverse, right? Well, this is like the metaverse on steroids, if you've seen Surrogates. Okay, so they lay down in a chair, okay, and an actual robot body goes out into the world as them, just living it up and doing everything that they want to do. Okay, the robot body, it's like an avatar that's, you know, alive and walking around in the world, just like the movie Avatar, except they're not blue, they're just regular people. Okay, so this is a really good example of where technology can eventually take us. Okay, so you have the, you know, what Facebook is doing, and these other things are doing, but you've got real people now, okay, out there in the world who are actually avatars. Okay, but this is where we're trying to where we're trying to get to. I'm not going to play it on. It's too long anyway. So Decentraland. Okay, this is like so these people, they just wrote something a couple days ago when Facebook came out with the new name. They're like, you know what, Facebook, you need to have some seats, okay? Because number one, we've already done what you're attempting to do, okay? It's called Decentraland, okay? It looks like Second Life to me, all right? If you go to the website and look at it, and you can do like all that stuff that Professor Black Ops was saying on his channel, on his Metaverse video, okay? So here, I said you have growth versus improvement, and here you have virtual versus reality. Where virtual is, if you look at the definition online, almost or nearly as described, but not completely, or according to strict definition, okay? Of course, you have the virtual world. I did a video the other day with Teal Swan, where she was talking about how how technology is learning from us, and this stuff is, it's way back when it would have seemed like science fiction or something, but nowadays it's like science fact. Like, we see that stuff is actually happening. They do learn, and all that is going on, which is fine and dandy. However, where I'm trying to get with this is right here. Now, I love me some James Baldwin, okay? So you're going to see quotes from him in here. He says at the top here, every white person in this country, I do not care what he says or what she says, knows one thing. They know that they would not like to be Black here. If they know that, they know everything they need to know. And whatever else they may say is a lie, okay? Now, look at these two circles right here. On one side, I have the solid gray circle. There are some words, and then in the one next to it, we have words too. Now, these are not opposites. I don't want you to think of them as opposites, okay? Try to think of it more as like a negative, right? You know how you have positive and negative, like you take a picture, Polaroid or something, you have the negative of the thing. That's kind of the way I want you to think of it, not opposites like we typically do. So we have reality, and then we have virtual, okay? And then analog, so digital, so these things are trying to, like, they're almost like trying to mirror each other, okay? The virtual world trying to mirror reality, the digital world trying to mirror the analog world, improvement trying to act like growth, perfection trying to be human. Do you know what I'm saying? Dichotomy trying to be diversity. So the problem here is one of, it's more like confusion, than anything else. Okay, is what it is. And what I had on the solid gray side, at one point I had black and white over there, but then I was like, you know what, that's not even, and they're on the same side. Okay, it's not black over here and no. They were on the same side. They were both in the solid gray, but I took them out and I just put human, okay? And then right/wrong on the other side. Because here's the thing, right? You hear in business a lot. Those of you who are in business, entrepreneurs and all that. You hear a lot that when you're marketing to people, your people are always looking for one of two things. Okay, it's really the same thing, but it's one of two things. We're either looking to get away from pain, or we're looking to get closer to pleasure. So we're running away from pain, or we're trying to run toward more pleasure. And that's like marketing 101. Okay, so whatever it is that you're creating, how are you either helping people to attain more pleasure or to get away from pain? Okay. You hear that from all kind of marketing people, Seth Godin, all these other folks, okay? That's no different than what's happening right here, okay? I don't see it as anything different than what's happening right here, okay? Now, I said in one of my videos, after I did the For those of you who heard when I was talking about the hacking is not a crime group, okay? The day after I did that video, I did another short one where I was talking about doing things the white way, okay? And I said, I'm not talking about the hue of somebody's skin. Like, that is not what I'm talking about, okay? Because we know that that's not true either. Like, you know, race is not a thing, right? You do know that, right? Okay. So that's not what I was talking about. What I'm talking about is I like 3 or 4 years ago, I did a talk here in where I live, in the city where I live, about my first book. And I titled it My White Privilege. That's what I titled it. I showed up to the place, okay, and the people saw me walk in and they were like, what is she talking about? My white privilege, right? Because they were looking at me. The name of my talk 3 years ago was My White Privilege. That's what I titled it. Okay. So I went on to talk about all the ways that I was using what I thought was my privilege. Now let me tell you what it is, right? So we're going to talk about white and Black privilege. So Mindy Kaling in her show that she had of something about Mindy, something like that. She said on there that somebody was asking her about her best friend. She was like, I don't have one best friend. She said, best friend is a tier. Like, you have people, you know, on that tier. Well, white is the same way. That's a tier. Okay. What is it? It's a what the hell do you call it? You know, it's like an elevated state. You know what I mean? It's like valedictorian or something, you know? So you don't just, you know, you have to be you're born there, or you have to be placed there. So it's like a caste system, okay? Because even in societies where you have nothing but melanated folks, you have a white tier. You understand? You got white people where you ain't got nothing but melanin, all right? Because it's a tier, like that's what it is. Even the people who came over here from other countries, came to the United States, those who lack melanin, they weren't white yet, okay? They had to be added on to the thing. Okay, come on. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So let's tell the truth about that for once, all right? Now, and all of us, every single, even white folks are trying to be white, okay? Because it's a tier, all right? And what it is at least what I've come to see from it, and which is what I talked about 3 years ago. When you think about, hold on, let me put this down right here so I can see y'all. Now, when you think about Black and white, let's do this right here. I'm gonna try to keep this as simple as I can. I really am. As simple as I can. Hey, NC worker. So when I'm using white privilege, okay, and again, get out of your head, skin, get rid of that, okay? Stop. Just stop it with that, all right? When I'm using white privilege, okay, what I'm doing is, because white is like an elevated thing, right? It's a state of perfection, okay? It's like I talked about the other day, like the white lie, right? A white lie versus just a plain old lie. What's the difference, right? The white one is cleaner, okay? It's justified. It's okay. You can tell it, you know? You can get away with it. You won't get punished for it. In fact, you know, you might be admired for it. You know, you'll be seen as caring and loving and all that. Why? Because it's white. Okay, that's why. So we're trying to get, we're trying to whitewash ourselves, okay, when we're using our white privilege. Do you know what I mean? And what that means is white, and I have on the other side in that circle, right and wrong. And remember what I said about running away from pain and running towards pleasure. Well, white is like, okay, I cannot be wrong. Okay, so with white here, you have wrong over here, and white means I cannot be wrong. Like I just, like wrong is not, like I cannot be wrong. Okay, so think about people and think about yourself, because there are places in your existence where you feel like you cannot be wrong. Now, what do you do in those instances when you feel like you cannot be wrong? Okay, or think of other people who you know always got to be right. I mean, always. Okay, what's one of the things that they always do to be sure they're right? One thing they do is they wait. They wait to see what other people are saying. They wait to see what other people have made. They wait to see what other people think. They wait to see the ideas that other people have, and they take them. And they take them and claim it as their own. Okay? People who don't want to be, who have to be right all the time, that's what they do. They don't have their own ideas. Okay? They don't have original thoughts. They wait for you to do something. Okay? And then they take it like it's their right to do so. All right? Why? Because they can't be wrong. They can't be wrong. All right? Now, and it's their privilege to do so. It's their privilege to take what doesn't belong to them and claim it as theirs. All right. Now let's talk about Black privilege. Okay, let's talk about that. So where white has to be right, Black is wrong. Okay, Black has to be wrong. It has to. All right, it has to. All right. Now, for people who use Black privilege, okay, listen to what I'm telling you. And I know I'm telling you stuff that you probably never heard before, okay? You probably never heard it before. But that's okay, okay? Because what needs to happen here? This same lame, tied-ass narrative that we've been telling for years and years and years and decades and millennia and all that, okay? We got to stop with that. Not if we want to evolve, if we want to get beyond where we are right now, okay, in a way that is beneficial for everybody, for every human and animal, and all the other ones. You know what I mean? We got to tell a different story. We have to. We got to tell a different story. How else is it going to happen? We have to tell a different story. All right? So with the Black privilege, and listen, my folks, I know my folks, okay? I know y'all, okay? I know you. And I know that your whole body is cringing when I say Black privilege, okay? It is. Like, I know it is. But you're like, what? I mean, ain't no such thing. No, yes, there is. Ijeoma Ilowu, in her book, You Want to Talk About Race, she does an amazing job of having us check our privilege. Us. Look, you see the melanin? You see how it's shining here? Us, okay, to check our privilege. Just like she checks hers. Do you know what I'm saying? We got to change the narrative. You have, listen. So with Black, it's about being wrong. Okay. Now, what do people do? Okay. People who feel that no matter what, you're wrong. No matter what. What do they tend to do? primarily. They hide. We hide. Okay. I don't mean like in corners and all this other stuff. No, we hide behind labels. We hide behind other people's ideas. We hide, like we just hiding. And one reason that we're doing that, right, is because we're afraid that somebody's going to take something from us, aren't we? Okay. This whole thing, if we really just look at it for what it is and stop just following the story and retelling the story that's been told for centuries, okay? If we just look for ourselves, okay, we can see what's going on. We can see what's going on. And it's not, you don't have to have a PhD in African studies and all this stuff. No, okay? You just have to be willing to see. That's it. You just got to be willing to see and willing to tell the truth about what you see. Therein lies the problem. Okay. It's not that we can't see, all right? Is that we refuse, all of us who claim whiteness, all of us who claim blackness, we see what the hell is going on, but we refuse, absolutely refuse to tell the truth about it, okay? Because we say, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. And that's fine, that's fine. Stick with your story, okay? But you're gonna keep getting what you get. And if you think for 1 second that the narrative that we're telling ourselves right now, okay, that's producing the same thing in tech, in the digital world that we have in the analog. You bringing all that stuff in the second life, okay? You're bringing all of it. The background that's the background. It's still there. As long as you don't acknowledge it or seek to do something about it, where else is it gonna go? But into the digital world with you, which is why on this channel, I'm always talking about human rights in cybersecurity, okay? Always. And you might, well, what does human rights got to do with, programs and stuff? It's got a lot to do with it. Because it's got to start in the analog world, okay? If it's going to get to the digital one. Don't think for 1 second you about to have a mess in reality and be, pristine in the digital world. You crazy if you think that that's going to happen, okay? That is not going to happen. Hi, what is that? ML Life, it has everything to do with it. Yes, it absolutely does. And to think anything else is just, it's juvenile, it's immature. It really, really is. And it's wishful. It's wishful thinking. We're hoping that the digital world will be an escape. Nah, bruh, it's not. It's not gonna be an escape. Everything you got here, you taking it along with you, okay? You're gonna be just as miserable in second life as you are in the first, okay? If you don't do something to change it. All right, now let me finish this off. So I think I got like 2 more left. I guess I gotta share the screen again. All right, so let's move on to this other thing here. Okay. This is one more quote from James Baldwin. In an interview, he said, "What is it you want me to reconcile myself to?" Now, this is paraphrase, okay? "You always told me it takes time. It's taken my father's time, my mother's time, my uncle's time, my brother's and my sister's time, my nieces and my nephews' time. How much time do you want for your progress?" Okay. How many times do we hear that it's going to happen, that something's going to change, that, you know, this person is going to make something different, or that elect this person and they're going to do that, or you know, join this group, or go on that march, or protest this thing, and you know, he's like, huh? This man passed away in like 1987. It's 2021. Okay. Look at what he said in 1987. How much time? How much time you need to make progress? Now, I wrote a blog post 2 years ago called "Your Progress is Holding You Back." Your progress is holding you back. Now I'm going to talk about that. Let me get through this last thing right here. Now, again, this is what the thumbnail. This was on the thumbnail. Okay. While we're out there studying for CISA and Splunk and all these other things that we're doing all day, while we out there, you know, doing ACAS scans and making reports and, you know, briefing the CISO and, you know, and applying to be CIO somewhere. And while we're doing all that, all this other stuff is going on. Ignoring it is not doing anything. Okay. Marching against it ain't doing nothing. So what do we need to do? Just bring it along with us, you know, and hope for the best? Like, what do we need to do? The progress that we're making in technology, where is the progress everywhere else? That's the question. All right. Where is the progress everywhere else? All right. Is that the last slide? Yeah, that's the last one. So somebody said, where was it? Oh, Martin Luther King. So before I talk about my blog post, let me tell you what because he said something very, very similar to, oh, can you see it over here? Let me see if I can bring this up. It's still too small for you to see. So I'll just read it, okay? He said, "I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in the stride toward freedom is not the white citizen's counselor or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, 'I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I can't agree with your methods of direct action,' who paternalistically feels he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by the myth of time, and who constantly advises the Negro to wait until a more convenient season." Here we go with waiting again. And I'm not just talking about Black and white. All of us are waiting. White folks is waiting, okay? They're waiting too. We're all waiting, okay? What are we waiting on? Hold on, let me get this started. What are we waiting on? Huh? Your change gonna come? What we waiting on? And who gonna do it? Who got us into it? Okay. This stuff is really not. So one of the issues is loss. Okay, one of the issues is loss. Whether you're, you know, you've claimed, you know, you see yourself as a person who cannot be wrong, or whether you see yourself as a person who is wrong no matter what. You're just born that way. You're just wrong all the way around. Whether you see yourself as one or both of those types of people, all right? We're going to have to question that, okay? Is it true that I have to be right? Is that true? Is it true that I'm inherently wrong? Is that true? Those are different questions. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how those questions, is it true that I always have to be right? Or is it true that I'm inherently wrong? The question requires that you tell another story. It requires it. If we acknowledge the fact, okay, the fact that this made up story called race, if we acknowledge that that shit ain't true, what would the conversation be like? I tell folks all the time who the diversity and inclusion and all that stuff, right? I'd be like include, like for what? Include, I don't like that word inclusion, okay? Because number one, I feel very strongly that all these diversity and inclusion programs and organizations are put in organizations to keep everything the way it is. Whoever's in power, bring in a diversity and inclusion program to make sure they stay in power. That's what those things are for. I don't care who's the head of it, okay? I don't care. Those things are there to keep the status quo, all right? That's why, show me one that's not. Show me one. Okay, I dealt with plenty of them. Show me one that does not just keep the status quo, okay? So that's number one. And number two, inclusion. Who's including who? Because let me tell you something. If Cheryl has the power to include NC worker, to include ML life, if Cheryl got the power to include y'all, guess who got the power to exclude you? Huh? Yeah, exactly. So what I say about this, I was like, include for what? I'm already here. What the hell you need to include me for? I'm here. Okay. The things that need to, hey Ayana, how you doing? The things that need to happen are, number one, you need to acknowledge that I'm here. Include for what? Like what are you talking about? You know what I mean? I'm here already. You just got to acknowledge that I'm here. You know, acknowledge, you know, the voice that you hear. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not, ain't nobody including nothing. Okay, if you already here. You know what I'm saying? Who has the power to do that? Come on now. Stop. So asking different kinds of questions, you know, acknowledging what we know is true. Now, because I thought about this too, right? So even when I first started thinking about this stuff, and I'm like, okay, so if we have all, so y'all know how binary works, you know, if we have all zeros, you ain't doing nothing with all zeros, okay? You got a transistor in your computer giving you all zeros, you ain't doing nothing. You ain't encoding nothing, you ain't moving nothing, it ain't even on, okay? You ain't doing jack. All ones, same thing, you ain't doing nothing, okay? Because the encoding, it has to be binary, at least right now, right? The way we have all this stuff set up, it has to be ones and zeros, okay? That's, it works together, it comes together. You know, it's like you and your shadow outside, y'all come together. You ain't running away from that, okay? Try it. You see kids in these little videos trying to run away from their shadow. Isn't it cute? Well, you got big old, you know, wide adults out here doing the same damn thing, trying to run away from your shadow, claiming that ain't me, it's different than me, that don't even look like me, that's darker than me, that ain't me, you know. Y'all look like a bunch of crazy, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, number one, we have to acknowledge that this thing is just not, you know, it ain't true. It's not true. And start from there. I always say, if you cannot start from the truth, you may as well just hang it up. You may as well hang it up. How in the hell are you going to change anything if you can't tell the truth first? You can't tell the truth about it. Hey, Stan, divide us into colors and you would be surprised what you could get away with. Would you be surprised? You know, and the thing with that, Stan, right, is that it takes two to tango. You know, I can tell, and this happens, right? I can tell people stuff, you know, that I just made up all day long, but it don't mean nothing if they don't believe it. Okay. Now, when you start believing what I tell you and start acting as if what I said was true, now we're cooking with grease. Okay. Now we're cooking with grease. All right. That's the whole thing about propaganda. You know, propaganda. And I told y'all, it was when old boy was doing it over there in Germany, it was propaganda. But when it came over here, they stopped calling it propaganda and they called it public relations. Okay, it's the same shit. It's the same stuff. What's his name? Bernays, the father of public relations. Okay, Freud's nephew said, you know what? Let's not call it propaganda because it has a bad, you know, because you know we can't call it that because people are already going to be no. But call it public relations, okay? And then we'll make it do what it do. Hi, Mitchell. This is one of the most thought-provoking and profound videos I've watched in a long time. Respect and very much appreciate. Thank you so much, Mitchell. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So that's what it takes two to tango. Okay, you could tell me all kind of stuff, but I gotta believe it, you know. And I mean, this can go, you know, so many different kind of ways. But the thing about this, the black and white world, okay, it's not about improvement. Improvement is not growth. If you look, which goes back to your progress is keeping you, you know, is keeping you back. Okay. Your progress is hindering your growth. That's what it's doing. When you look at like a little plant that's growing in the ground, like in the springtime or something, right? You got little flowers coming up. And they're just little, they're just sprouts, just sprouting out of the ground. And then you go back a week later and it's a little bigger. You know, it might have some leaves on it or something like that. So but you have other little sprouts that are coming up. Is the bigger plant an improvement on the little baby plant? No, that's not improvement. That's growth. That's maturation. All right. That's being able to take what your environment is providing you as nourishment and flourishing in that environment. You're adapting, you're flourishing, you're growing, you're being who you are in that environment, and you're contributing. Okay. You're contributing to, if you're a tree or something, you're contributing to the whole planet. Okay. That's growth. We've mistaken growth and maturation. And that happens naturally, doesn't it? That as long as you have the water, the sun, the whatever it takes, whatever kind of being you are, whatever it takes for you to mature and grow and, you know, and all that, okay? Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally and all that, okay? That happens naturally, all right? But we've tried to take growth into our own hands, and now we're calling it improvement, okay? So we're saying, okay, I'm going to improve myself in this way, right? I'm going to make sure I'm never wrong, okay? I'll make sure I'm always right, and I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do that thing, and I'm going to improve. But let me ask you this: as you're improving, as you're progressing, look at where you are now. For any place where you feel you've improved, okay? Have you really? Like, have you moved? Have you gone anywhere? Have you gone, and I'm not talking about like now you were in Florida, now you're in California. No. In all your improving, okay, where have you actually gone? If you really look at, you haven't moved an inch. You may have been doing a whole bunch of stuff, okay, but you haven't moved. And I'm not saying that like to be mean or anything. I'm just telling you, like, just look. Just look. If you got more money in your bank account, that's fine. If you got the woman you've always wanted, the man you've always wanted, the kids you've always wanted, the house, the car, the watch, the hat, the teeth, the the boobs, the whatever that you've always wanted. Okay. If you look at, you still where you were on day one. And we see that all the time. And people keep trying to improve. You're trying to get somewhere that, number one, you have no idea where it is. Okay. You just know that you don't like where you are right now. So you figure I need to improve. And you totally miss, okay, opportunities to grow and mature. Do you know what I mean? Like you got a whole bunch of improvement and very little maturity, very little. And by maturity, I mean like the ability to really see what's going on and tell the truth about it. Okay? Think of it this way, right? For those of you who like theater, okay, or you've ever been in a school play, high school play, or any kind of play, or maybe you're professional actors and actresses or something, okay? But it's like people in a movie. People in a movie, they play roles. Some of them are very good. Like the guy who played Lincoln, like he does and other people, they do this method acting, right? Oh, the Joker, the guy who played the Joker, he did that too. I like him. I forget his name, but he does method act. So he'll I think he got an IT job to actually get in the state of mind as the Joker. Okay. So he had to become that whole character. You know what I mean? So as he's playing that character, he's still who he really is, okay? But he kind of has to ignore that so he can be the best Joker he can be. Like the best, whatever the Joker's name was in the movie, I don't know, he can be. Mel Gibson, Braveheart, he had to be the best William Wallace, and we love it. We love it when they do that. I can't stand people trying to act. You can tell that they're acting. I don't even watch it. I don't like that at all. Okay. Some people I just don't watch because I don't think they're good actors. I want you to fool me. Okay. That's what I'm here for. All right. I know you, Denzel, but I don't want to know that. I want you to be the equalizer or whatever. Okay. So I can enjoy this movie, So it's like we get into and so you're a character, right? And in the movie, as that character, you're improving. Like you're going to school, you're getting better, you're doing all this. You've got a new house and wife and all kind of stuff going on, right? Okay. As the character. But in reality, you haven't gone anywhere. You haven't done anything. Okay? You just there. Like you always been. Don't confuse who you are with the character you're playing, okay, is what I'm telling you. We have to, and then there's nothing right or wrong with the character. I don't want it to make it seem like that. Okay? I'm not saying stop playing whatever you're doing or whatever the hell, okay? I'm not saying stop trying to improve and all this, all right? What I'm saying is there has to come a time, and there will, okay? Because we all have a threshold of pain when we just can't take it anymore. We all have that, okay? Many of us haven't gotten there yet, okay? But for some of us, it doesn't have to take all that, okay? We don't have to wait until we just can't take it anymore, all right? To acknowledge, okay, you know what? I just need to tell the truth about this thing, okay? So I can really begin to grow and mature in my personal life, in my professional life. You know, as a cybersecurity professional, I see what is going on here. I see the disparity. I see the narrative that we're telling. I see all that, all right? And I am interested in a future that does not include all of this injustice. That's what I'm interested in, okay? I'm going to tell the truth about that, right? And also, the truth is, when we evolve together, okay? We don't lead, that's what, I mean, you know, it all happens together. It happens together. But it was like James Baldwin was saying again, right? And he had they did something, I don't know if it was on Netflix or Prime, something like that, right? And this goes both ways, okay? But I'm just using James Baldwin, but it applies to everybody, okay? He said, you call me a nigger, okay? That's what you call me. I don't know what that is. I didn't make that up. You did. So there's nothing I can do about the nigger you made up, because that's not me, okay? And I don't know what that is. I don't know why you made that up. You have to figure that out, okay? That's not something I can do, because I didn't make it up. Now, there is some shit I did make up, okay, that you can't do nothing about. I gotta figure out why, okay? I need to see you as this thing, okay? That's for me to figure out. You can't do nothing about that. Yeah. So and that's where growth and maturity is going to happen, when we start to tell the truth, okay, about the biases we have and why we have them, okay? Tell the truth. Now, let me tell you, and it's hard. It's difficult. So let me give you an example of something that I just did, okay? I have been creating this a course for older, I don't think they call them elderly anymore. I don't think that's PC. I think it's older aged adults, I believe. At least that's what the people at the thing said. So it's a very simple 6-hour course for older aged adults to be able to use mobile phones. Okay, so I've been creating that. Now, I've been working with the county that I live in to create this thing. We've been meeting every week to go over the curriculum. You know, we just had the pilot and all that stuff, right? But there's a lady that I have to meet with. This woman gets on my damn nerves. You hear me? It's like I can't stand when the meeting comes up, because I'm gonna have to be on the phone with this woman to tolerate her and her attitude. I can't take it, okay? So I was so disturbed one day when we had to meet, and I had to stop, and I was like, Cheryl, girl, what's the problem, okay? Because I was even contemplating telling them I couldn't make it, even though I could, you know, because I didn't want to have to tolerate her. I was just gonna get the cliff notes after the damn meeting. But I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. Cheryl, I need you to find out what the issue is, okay? Now, what I've been telling myself was, well, she's just annoying as hell, okay? She just, you know, she's nitpicky, and all this stuff is about her. That's why I don't like to be in there, because she just, you know, she's doing too much. All right, it don't take all that. These are not cybersecurity professionals. These people are 65 and older. This ain't a CompTIA course, okay? This is about how you use your mobile phone, what an on button is. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why is she? So what I ended up coming up with, right, was that, and I don't know this lady. I just, this project is the first time that I've never even seen her in person. Okay, it's all been over WebEx. All right. But what I figured out was, so you know how we reflect the emotions of each other, okay, with mirror neurons and all that stuff. I ain't gonna get into all that, but you know how that is, right? You get somebody can walk into a room and just bring the whole room down, or the opposite. Somebody walks into a room and everybody's attitude just lifts and like, oh, she's here. You know what I mean? It's like we reflect things on each other. Okay. So this lady, like I was getting something from her. Now, the way I interpreted that was when I was around her or when we were speaking or anything like that, I felt incompetent. Okay. And I don't like that. Like, I'm not, especially when I know I'm not. Like, I know what the hell I'm doing. Why do I feel incompetent around this woman? Okay. And what I figured out was, at least as my interpretation, is that she, like the way that, and I know this because I've been like that sometimes, right? She seems to be, feel powerless. Okay. So somebody who they just don't feel like anything they do will make a difference. Okay. Just powerless, like not able to make a decision that'll change anything, right? So people who feel like that tend to be super controlling. I mean, just control whatever the hell, it don't, however minuscule it is, okay, to try to compensate for feeling powerless. All right. So what I got from that, that kind of is feeling incompetent. Like I needed to be controlled. Like I had no ability to do things on my own. So I needed to be like handheld, and controlled, right? I did not like that feeling. So I didn't want to be around her. Not because of who she is, but because of how I felt around her. Now that's a Cheryl thing. She ain't got shit to do with that. Okay, that's me. But admitting that was hard as hell. Okay, admitting I feel incompetent, saying that out loud, okay, was very hard to do. I would rather not say it and just blame her. Okay, and say she get on my nerves, I can't stand her, she need to go, all this other stuff, and not acknowledge what was going on right here. Okay, we don't like to do that. That's hard work. Okay, that is very hard work. That is not easy to do. All right, it's not easy to do, but we're going to have to do it if we're going to get beyond all this and trying to improve and all this other stuff. It's about getting smarter faster. It can happen, but if we want to continue to wait, James Baldwin said, how long do I have to wait for progress? How long? Huh? In that blog article I did on your progress is holding you back. It's on my, I don't really advertise my blog like that, but Stan, right, the buck stops here. Yes, the buck starts and stops here. Okay. And, we so busy trying to fix other people. Aren't we busy trying to fix other folks? Aren't we busy doing that? Very, very busy. I mean, busy. Trying to fix other folks' child. Telling them what's wrong with them. Oh, my goodness. See, and this is the thing that's gonna, because Because the buck stops here. The longer we refuse to acknowledge that and tell the truth about you, okay, that's how, look, we're gonna be around here waiting, twiddling thumbs, okay, until we can get past that, okay. And so what I'm gonna take that blog and I'll put it on my Patreon, so you'll read it, Ayan and Mitchell, you'll see it over there. But I ask a lot of questions. I asked several questions in there about, you know, what is it about progress that's keeping us back? That's keeping a large part of it is distraction. Okay, progress, okay, helps to distract us from what really needs to be done. Okay, it's almost like we're social engineering ourselves. So you know how social engineers, how hackers, you know, what they do to get people to click stuff and download things is they work on pure emotion. They want you to be emotionally triggered. So you don't even think, you don't even try to, you don't check with, you don't do nothing. Like the IRS want me to pay what? And then click, there you go, virus. The virus, you know. They said I didn't pay that bill. What? I should click, you know, here you go, Trojan, somewhat, you know what I mean? It's all about emotion because they're trying to get past your common sense. They're trying to, they don't want you to go to that, okay? They don't want you to stop and think. They want to trigger something, trigger, you know, excitement, sadness, anger, whatever the hell, whatever the emotion is, that's what they're trying to do to you, okay? That's what gets them. That's the same thing that's happening here, okay? Progress. I read something the other night about dopamine. Okay, we that's what this is all about right here. This phone, child, we get highs. Look, we all the first, look, the second we get up, what's the first, what do you do when you wake up in the morning? What's the first, look, don't lie. What's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning? Flashlight came on. Reach for this here, right? Child. Dopamine. Listen, that's what we do. And you said we have so many things we can work on ourselves. And we do. And it's hard work, like I said before. It's at least, let me speak it for myself, it's hard work. Okay. It's very hard work to tell myself the truth. Isn't it crazy? Crazy. I mean, nuts. How we, it's almost like how we lie to ourselves, right? Knowing that we lie, I mean, I don't know, it's just weird. You know, it's weird. It's really weird. It's like trying to keep a secret from yourself. Like, you know, but you're trying to keep a secret from yourself. It's like, it's weird. Humans are weird. Okay, it's just weird. But so that kind, but it gets easier over time. Believe me, it gets easier. It really does get easier over time. It does. And it's not that we even have to do a whole lot of stuff, right? It's not like we have to stop doing this and then start doing that, okay? It's almost like all you really have to do is just be you. You know how people say to be authentic and to be genuine? That's all you got to do. And everything else just takes care of itself. It really does. Because when you do that, you just naturally, remember how I said about the plant, how in the plant, like a tree outside is just doing what the hell a tree does, you know, whatever kind of tree it is, like it's just doing tree stuff, okay? But just being what it is allows other things to just be what they are. Same, I mean, you know, we're part of nature too, you know, we're not separate from nature. You know, even though we act like we are, we better than nature, we have dominion, whatever the hell we be talking about, okay? No, we're part of it. And the same thing is true, okay? If we just, you know, stop hiding, Remember what I said about the black privilege, like the knowing that we're wrong. And what we do is we become very good at hiding. Okay, very good at hiding everything about who we are, everything. You know, if we let that go, and to not be right, like stop stealing shit, come up with your own ideas, you know, stop waiting around looking to see what other people say and then you jump on it because you're scared that if you just go out there, you know, you're going to be wrong. And if you're wrong, so what? So what? Shoot. So what? Okay. So what? So if we quit holding on to whiteness and blackness, okay, if we quit holding on to needing to be right and needing to be wrong, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Okay, what kind of stuff could actually happen? So it's not like we gotta do a lot. It's almost like we gotta, you know, stop being so extra. You know, it's just too many cooks in the kitchen or something. You know, but it does get easier. It seems like that's all you gotta do. Like when it is, um, it is. Trust me. Trust. It is. So I wanted to tonight, you know, bring y'all something a little different because you could throw a rock outside the window, okay, and hear what we always hear about bias, okay, and prejudice and racism and all that. Somebody somewhere got to start talking about something different. Start changing the narrative, but still getting to the issue, right? The issue is whether it's this narrative or the other narrative. The main issue is inability to tell the truth. That's the main issue. Inability to tell the truth, even though it's right there in your face. You refuse. Okay. All the legislation on earth ain't gonna do shit about that. All right. Stan, what did you say? I met people who more than 3 or 4 people, but they could be 3 or 4 genuine people. Amazing and courageous video. Brutally honest. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Mitchell. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Well, that's all I got for y'all tonight, really. I just wanted to bring something a little different. And this is, you know, y'all, I talk about this stuff already, just in, you know, in different ways. And I've gotten to the point, and it's taken time. Can you believe, like, I was the type of person who felt like I had to be wrong, okay? Just because I was told that, you know, like that was my station in life, almost like the caste system in India, you know, in other places. Like, this is your station, like this is where you were born, this is where you are, this is where you'll always be, you'll never get further, than, you know, all that, you know. So that was it. That was all Cheryl could do. You know what I mean? I was born to, you know, get married and have kids and bring my kids up the same way. You know, this is who you are, you're wrong, and this is, you know. And I finally had to tell the truth about that, which was hard. It was scary as hell. Okay. It was scary as hell. And the wonderful thing about it, though, is that all you have to do is be willing. Be willing to see something different, you know. And then growth and maturation is just, you know, you'll see it start to happen, which is not, it's not about getting better. Okay, growth and maturing is not about getting better. It's not. It is about seeing more clearly, though. Wouldn't you like to go around seeing more clearly? You know, it's nice. It really is. And and get, all your creative stuff just come, you stop being so afraid of everything. It's just it's nice. Okay, it's very nice. It's very nice. And it's not like magical powers or nothing like that. Like we all have the ability to do it. We just need to be willing to do it. That's all. All right, y'all. I appreciate you so much for being here. All right. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. We're going to talk about other amazing things on here very soon. So, y'all have a great night. I'm going to turn in early because I have been getting my sleep. Listen, I've been taking naps. I've been sleeping every damn chance I get because what I know, okay, is that my rest is just as important as my work, honey. Okay, and I get me some rest. All right, I've been sleeping my arse off. All right, I will talk to y'all later. Have a good night. Bye.